Good day. We are the Business Innovators 2.0, your consulting team for Prada Group. In P3, we bring everything together, recapping our external and internal analysis, synthesizing through a SWOT and competitive strength assessment, and closing with our strategic recommendations. Everything we present today is evidence-based, objective, and delivered with one goal: to give Prada a clear picture of where they stand and where they need to move. Let's begin. Our consulting team was brought in to assess Prada's competitive position through Porter's 5 forces and to translate that assessment into actionable strategic direction. Before we get into recommendations, let me quickly ground us in what we found, as you can see on the screen. Across the 5 forces, the picture is mixed, and that's precisely the point. The industry rewards incumbents but punishes complacency. Starting with competitive rivalry, we rated this very high. In luxury, brands don't compete on price. They compete on desirability, cultural relevance, and brand mystique. That battlefield is brutal and never-ending. New entrants pose virtually zero threat. Prada's century of heritage, flagship infrastructure, and brand equity form walls that simply cannot be purchased or replicated overnight. This is a genuine structural advantage. Supplier power is moderate but strategically sensitive. Access to premium Italian artisans and rare materials is constrained and getting tighter. This is not a passive risk. Buyer power is moderate, but it's rising. Today's luxury consumer is informed, selective, and increasingly values sustainability and resale value. They can and will redirect their spend if Prada loses relevance. And finally, substitutes are high threat. Consumers are shifting directionary income towards travel, wellness, and experiences, and the booming secondary luxury market is pulling demand away from primary sales. So what does this mean strategically? Our consulting team has 4 recommendations, each directly tied to a force. First, on rivalry. Prada must double down on cultural capital. The creative director is a strategic asset. Collaborations with artists and cultural institutions aren't marketing. They're competitive positioning. Prada must stay at the center of cultural conversation, not just the fashion calendar. Second, on suppliers, accelerate vertical integration. We recommend Prada expand ownership of artisans, workshops, and raw material sources. Italian craftsmanship is a finite resource. Locking it in now is a structural moat, not merely a cost efficiency play. Third, on buyers, lead on sustainability transparency. Proactively publishing supply chain metrics, sourcing data, and carbon impact isn't just ethics, it's brand differentiation. Today's luxury consumer rewards brands that prove responsibility, not just promise it. Fourth, on substitutes. Extend into branded experiences, hospitality, culinary events, cultural programming under the Prada name. Consumer spend is migrating from goods to experiences. Prada needs to follow that money and own a share of it. Our overall verdict. The global luxury goods industry remains highly attractive for established incumbents like Prada. Strong margins, high barriers, enduring demand. But it is structurally unforgiving to those who stand still. Prada's brand equity and Italian heritage are a real advantage. But advantages that are not actively maintained become liabilities. Rivalry will only intensify. And cultural relevance is now a strategic asset, not a marketing function. From our consulting perspective, the 2 most defensible levers going forward are supply chain ownership and sustainability leadership. And the experiential economy is not a passing trend. It is a structural shift that Prada must meet with urgency, not observation.
As part of our external analysis, we will also take a quick look back at the competitive analysis among 3 key players: Prada, LVMH, and Hermes. LVMH, Hermes, and Prada are among the top major global luxury fashion industry competing in the international luxury goods market. In terms of revenue, LVMH outperforms its rivals, rising to €84 million in 2024. Hermes, coming in second to LVMH, has generated €15 million also in 2024. Prada, amidst being overshadowed by the 2 giant industries, shows a consistent and growing trend in its revenue as it peaked in 2024 with €5 million. Due to their global influence in multiple luxury sectors, LVMH has been able to acquire about 24% of the market share, with Hermes only at approximately 7 to 8%, and Prada only acquired about 2.5% of the market share. Business Innovators 2.0 previously identified several key success factors. These key success factors describe the competitive factors that will influence this company's ability to be financially and competitively successful.
In the global luxury industry, Prada's competitive strength comes not from a single capability, but from an integrated system that connects creativity, craftsmanship, and controlled market execution. To explain this, we identify three core competencies. First, Prada's primary core competency is its integrated creative luxury system. This refers to Prada's ability to integrate creative direction, craftsmanship, cultural branding, and retail experience into one unified system. So creative direction acts as a central driver, linking product design, manufacturing decisions, marketing narratives, and retail presentation. So this ensures Prada's creative vision is consistently translated across the entire value chain. Second, Prada's hybrid craftsmanship and manufacturing system is a key operational competency. Prada operates a vertically coordinated manufacturing system centered in Italy, combining 25 owned industrial facilities, long-term supplier relationships, and selective outsourcing under strict control. So the group retains control over design, prototyping, materials, and quality standards while outsourcing selected specialized production stages to monitored partners. So this enables Prada to maintain craftsmanship quality, operational flexibility, production consistency, and strong made in Italy authenticity. Third, Prada's controlled retail and client experience management is a critical market-facing competency, so Prada maintains strong control over its global retail network and customer experience to ensure consistent brand positioning. So the group operates 843 directly owned stores worldwide, with about 89% of revenue generated through directly operated channels, supported by selective wholesale and omni-channel presence. So this allows Prada to control pricing, store environment, merchandising, and customer engagement, ensuring global consistency while maintaining exclusivity. So together, these three competencies form a connected system that explains Prada's strong position between exclusivity-driven luxury houses and large-scale luxury conglomerates.
Moving forward to the SWOT analysis, the luxury industry is evolving, and Prada's ability to sustain its momentum depends on how well it leverages its strengths while responding to threats and opportunities. To understand its strategic position, let's start with what Prada genuinely does well. Prada's century-long heritage has built a distinct intellectual brand identity supporting premium pricing and long-term desirability, reinforced by a vertically integrated model owning approximately 24 factories, operating over 600 stores, and generating 89% of revenue through direct-to-consumer channels. Miu Miu posted 93% retail sales growth in 2024, accounting for roughly 22% of group revenue, while the Versace acquisition expands its brand portfolio. ESG initiatives like Re-Nylon further reflect an effort to embed sustainability into its operations. Meanwhile, on weaknesses, Prada's creative leadership is heavily centered on Miuccia Prada and Raf Simons, with no clear public succession plan, posing a risk of brand disruption if either steps back from their creative role. The group also operates at a smaller scale than Hermes, Kering, and LVMH, limiting its investment capacity. Ownership remains highly concentrated within the founding family, reducing minority shareholder influence. Additionally, leather goods accounting for roughly half of revenue create sustainability exposure under the incoming 2026 European Union greenwashing regulations. In terms of opportunities, the ultra-high net worth consumer base is growing, with an increase of 12% in 2024 and 5.4% in the first half of 2025, which is directly aligned with one of Prada's core buyer segments. The broader shift toward quiet luxury also naturally favors Prada's minimalist brand positioning without requiring a strategic pivot. Finally, on threats, the contraction of Chinese luxury spending by approximately 3 to 5% in 2025 is a significant concern, given that the Asia-Pacific represents Prada's largest regional revenue pool. This is compounded by the US-China tariff tensions creating supply chain uncertainty, and the growing second-hand luxury market presents a structural threat diverting customer demand away from primary sales.
Now let's look at the competitive strength assessment. We evaluated Prada against Hermes and Louis Vuitton across 5 key success factors that we identify as critical winning in the luxury goods industry. Prada comes out with a weighted score of 7.83, a respectable position but behind Hermes at 9.13 and Louis Vuitton at 8.76. So what this tells us is not that Prada is weak. In fact, Prada grew 7% in 2024, well above the market average. What it tells us is where the gaps are. Prada trails on brand value, scale, and digital capabilities, and these two gaps directly inform the strategies we are recommending today. Now let's look at the strategic options we considered for Prada. The first option we'll look at is market penetration, which simply means selling more to the customers Prada already has, in the market it already operates in. The three specific moves here are focusing on full price sales, upgrading existing flagship stores instead of opening new ones, and continuing the shift away from department stores toward Prada's own boutiques. These are not just theoretical ideas. Prada's retail growth in 2024 was driven specifically by like-for-like full-price volumes, meaning the company is already doing this, and it is working. In 2024, 89% of Prada's revenue it came through its own directly operated channels, demonstrating the resilience of its direct-to-consumer mode. The recommendation here is to think that further, not cozen it. The second option combines two growth paths: market development, which means bringing Prada existing products to new customers and regions, and product development, which means launching new product lines, specifically beauty and lifestyle categories, to attract younger buyers. For market development, the focus is on Miu Miu's expansion into Southeast Asia, where Prada Group is still underpenetrated. In 2024, Miu Miu recorded plus 13% growth in Asia Pacific, with strong momentum specifically from South Korea and Southeast Asia. The opportunity to put more physical doors in these markets is real and timely. For product development, the beauty angle is particularly strong. Prada is already partnered with L'Oreal to build out its beauty lines, with makeup and skincare launched in 2023, and a Prada Beauty store opened in the US in early 2024. In 2024, Prada and L'Oreal also signed a separate license agreement specifically for Miu Miu beauty products, with L'Oreal Luxe president calling Miu Miu's potential in beauty outstanding. This is not a speculative idea. The infrastructure is already in place.
For the strategy recommendations, Prada can consider market penetration, as it is operationally efficient, as Prada can maximize its existing stores, supply chains, and customer relationships without heavily investing in entirely new markets or product categories. Since the brand already has a strong recognition among luxury consumers, increasing repeat purchases and customer engagement can generate relatively quick revenue gains. Meanwhile, the primary risk of this strategy is brand dilution. Luxury consumers value exclusivity, and increasing the product availability too aggressively may reduce scarcity and weaken Prada's prestige in the market. Overexposure can also create pricing pressure and damage long-term consumer desirability. For our final recommendation, an integrated strategy involving market and product development allows Prada to capture growth opportunities in regions with untapped markets, such as Southeast Asia, without oversaturating existing markets. At the same time, selective product development helps reduce dependence on leather goods and supports evolving consumer demand for sustainability and lifestyle diversification. The strategy also complements the acquisition of Versace by expanding the group's reach across different consumer preferences and market segments. On the other hand, expanding into new markets and developing new products requires substantial investment in retail, marketing, supply chains, and brand positioning. Prada must also manage cultural differences and rapidly changing luxury preferences across regions. If product expansion is not carefully controlled, the company risks weakening its brand identity and losing strategic focus.
Now, let us look at how these strategies would actually be carried out. The goal for market development is straightforward. Grow Prada Group sales in new regions by expanding Miu Miu store presence and upgrading core Prada flagships. These two moves work together. Miu Miu opens the door to new customers, while flagship upgrades deepen the experience for existing ones. The three specific steps are securing prime retail locations in high-growth cities like Bangkok and Singapore, shifting remaining wholesale accounts into direct boutiques, and using exclusive limited edition launches to create local demand at each new opening. On the location choice, Singapore and Tokyo were among the top drivers of luxury stores activity growth in the Asia-Pacific region in 2024, helped by improving regional tourism and the relaxation of tourist visa requirements for Chinese nationals. Bangkok is an emerging luxury hub with growing UNHW consumer spending, or ultra-high net worth consumer spending. These are not random picks, they are data-backed targets. For product development, the goal is to attract younger buyers through two channels: scaling up Prada Beauty and launching adjacent lifestyle categories. The logic here is that beauty and smaller lifestyle items serve as entry points. They let aspirational customers build a relationship with the brand before they can afford the core handbag or ready-to-wear lines. The 3 steps here are developing clean skincare lines through the existing L'Oreal partnership, launching social media pop-up activations to generate online buzz, and cross-selling beauty customers into fashion 6 months after first purchase through targeted CRM. The L'Oreal partnership is already live. Prada Beauty's products fragrance ranked among the top launches of 2023 to 2024, with makeup counters and expanded shade ranges planned through 2025. The cross-sell step is particularly smart. It uses data from the beauty customer base to identify the next generation of fashion buyers, which directly helps Prada close its gap on key success factors 5, sustaining demand among high-spending consumers over time. Finally, let us look at how these recommendations are sequenced over a 2-year period. The timeline is structured across 2 years and 3 strategic tracks. In the first 6 months, the priority is securing new retail locations in Bangkok and Singapore and beginning the L'Oreal skincare development process, both of which require lead time before results appear. From months 4 through 9, Prada begins the transition away from department stores into direct boutiques and launches social media beauty pop-ups to build awareness ahead of product rollout. The third phase, from months 7 through 12, focuses on exclusive launch events at new regional stores and initiating the cross-sell from beauty customers to fashion. In year 2, the longer horizon initiatives take over. Adjacent lifestyle categories like fine jewelry come online, cross-sell campaigns mature, and monthly performance reviews keep all tracks on course. This is a realistic and well-sequenced plan. The near-term steps require capital and operational decisions, while the longer-term steps depend on brand and customer data that will only exist after the early steps succeed. The sequencing is logical, not arbitrary.
The strategy map shows how Prada's market development and product development strategies flow bottom-up across 4 perspectives. At a learning and growth level, Prada builds regional market intelligence and talent in target markets, while simultaneously leveraging the L'Oreal partnership for beauty expansion. This enables the internal process level in which regional talent drives the securing of prime retail locations in high-growth cities, while the L'Oreal partnership enables the launch of Prada Beauty and adjacent lifestyle categories. These processes then deliver value at a customer level. New retail locations capture high-wealth consumers in Southeast Asia, while Prada Beauty attracts younger Gen Z and millennial buyers through accessible entry points, who are then cross-sold into fashion over time. All of which drives the financial outcomes. Capturing high-wealth consumers maximizes retail margins through direct-to-consumer expansion, while the beauty expansion diversifies revenue beyond core fashion, reducing Prada's over-reliance on leather goods in the Chinese market. The balanced scorecard translates these strategies into measurable targets across 4 perspectives. Financially, Prada targets maintaining its 90% direct-to-consumer revenue mix while achieving 10 to 15% non-fashion revenue contribution within 3 years through Prada Group. On the customer side, the group targets 10% annual growth in high-wealth clientele and 15% annual growth in younger consumers through beauty activations. Internally, Prada commits to opening a minimum of 3 flagship boutiques in target cities within a year of implementation and launching at least 2 new Prada Beauty skincare lines within 2 years through L'Oreal collaboration. At the learning and growth level, the group targets a 20% increase in regional specialists to support both expansion strategies. The critical factor across all perspectives remains the cross-selling pipeline. Converting beauty buyers into fashion consumers is ultimately what determines the long-term value of the product development strategy. In conclusion, Prada remains a financially strong and culturally relevant luxury group, but sustaining long-term competitiveness will depend on its ability to expand into untapped markets, diversifying beyond leather goods to expand its portfolio, and cultivating younger consumers as it continues to compete with larger global luxury rivals. That concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening.